Well, there's an ongoing controversy surrounding the pending buyout of Irish-owned Independent News and Media SA by a consortium led by Sekunjalo Investment Holdings. It, to a certain extent, and it appears that that's the crux of the matter, it has to do with the ownership of media in this country, or not. Let's hear now from my guest. Let me start with Mr. Lumgom Timde, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Media Development and Diversity Agencies on the line, MDDA. Also on the other line, I have Anton Harbour, is the Caxton Professor of Journalism. Nick Dawes is the chairperson of SANEF, but also is our outgoing chief editor-in-chief, I beg your pardon, of the Mail and Guardian.
SANEF's view is simply that, we would like to see a really well-informed and engaged public debate about both this deal and media ownership more broadly. So we would like to know more about the consortium that is buying the independent group, and we'd like to know more about their plans. But broadly speaking, of course, we welcome investment in the media space at a time that's been quite difficult for the press. And I think we're on record as calling for more diversity in media ownership. So, we don't have a particular issue with Dr. Survey or with the consortium as far as we know it, but we would like to see more information in the public domain so that the conversation can be better informed. Well, that has been what they've said. They've said that the Irish sellers don't want them to reveal the names of their partners before, I think it's the 18th of June.
Yeah.
Of course, some of those names are already known. So I don't really understand why it's okay that we know the names of three or so of the investors, but not of the rest. And I think, Dr. Survey has said that they will make known all of the names. So obviously we welcome that. We don't want the discussion to happen after everything is already fait accompli. So our preference would be for the consortium to be as open as possible, as early as possible. And, that applies to media ownership in general. But in this case, of course, there is a transaction happening. It's underway. And I think the discussion could be a lot more healthy if there was maximum openness from all sides.
Newspapers are a public trust in many ways. They're very important in our society and in our politics. They are sources of power and influence. And there's a great public interest in knowing who and how they're controlled, and whether there's agendas and party affiliations or independents involved, whether they're local or international owners. The Independent Group is the second biggest newspaper group in the country, and I think it's natural that people should want to know, as with any, it's a private institution, but it has a public trust. It has a particular public role, and I think it's true of any organization like that we want to know as much as possible about it. Well, I don't think it's true. I think that when Times Media Group changed hands a number of times, there was often scrutiny and debate. When the Mail and Guardian changed hands, it was discussed by the staff and by the public and by its readers. People care about these things. When Pearson sold its share of Business Day and Financial Mail back to South Africa, there was discussion about the meaning of this. So I don't think it's true to say it's unusual. I think it's entirely predictable to be expected. But rather unfortunately, the level of secrecy around it has stirred up controversy. And I think that's unfortunate.
Mr. Mtimde, are you worried about the level of secrecy?
Xolani, I agree with the principle of what Nick and Prof is raising, which is transparency, so that we all know and we're able to locate whatever transaction in the broader context of the transformation and the agenda of promoting media diversity. But I think we need to also respect the processes. All these, they follow certain processes, be it competition commission processes or internal processes and so forth. And as far as I've been following this process, Sekunjalo has indicated that it is indeed going to reveal who the consortium is, and I think we will get the information, and I don't think therefore there is necessarily secrecy. Perhaps we all want to know sooner rather than later, which is fair, but I don't think we need to then declare that there is secrecy in this process. Yes, certainly, and I think there is that debate. It is taking place. It is taking place before the Competition Commission, and as we are having the debate now. But I think we also need to, because I think Prof cited a lot of other examples of transactions that have taken place, and I don't think we have put undue pressure in any of those transactions. We've had the similar debates that we're having. So let us debate. Let us contextualize what is it that we want to achieve. I think one of the things that have kind of spoiled the debate is arguments that this transaction may threaten media freedom. And that is ill-informed, and certainly it worries other people because it begins to ask a question, why? And why was that question not asked when other transactions were taking place? So we need to be consistent and approach this debate within the broader context of what transformational changes need to happen in the media in South Africa and what is our agenda in respect of media diversity. I've not heard that particular element in this debate, and I think it's unfair to suggest that when there is a measure that is not horizontal, and then you then suggest that because it begins to bring in new owners who have not been part of the established, and then you begin to then argue that that is threatening media freedom. I actually think that it is promoting media freedom, it is promoting media diversity, it is promoting transformation. The nature of the debate tend to suggest that, and I'm hoping that is not the case.
I don't think so. I think there's questions to be asked, and they must be asked. I mean, let me agree that I think it's excellent that ownership is coming home. I think it's excellent that new owners are entering the arena. All of this is healthy. I think that if it's an empowered, transformational group of owners, I think that's interesting, but we don't really know that because we don't know the owners. I'm very struck by the irony that groupings like the ANC, who have been saying ownership must be debated and must be changed and must be diversified, are now defending the fact that we don't know the full details of a new ownership. It seems to me there's a contradiction there that should be played out. I mean, this problem goes away as soon as Sekunjalo gives the information. So it's really no big deal. And I hope they'll do it soon. I hope they'll do it before it's too late. And I hope we continue to debate media ownership, because there remains important and difficult issues for us to flesh out over time.